The battlefield still sizzled with the afterburn of plasma fire when I stepped over the husk of a fallen patrol drone. Its last message blinked across its cracked visor: system error. Very bad day detected, which, honestly, summed things up better than my sergeant ever had. Smoke drifted through the ruins like it was trying to find a better war to attend. My boots crunched over glassy fragments of melted sand, and I kept my pulse rifle low, scanning for movement. That's when I heard it, a faint, irritated groan. Not the dying kind, but the "this day can't get any worse" kind. I followed the sound past a toppled mech chassis and found her lying half-buried under a collapsed support beam. Humanoid, slim, battle-worn armor scorched at the edges. But the ears, long, elegant, twitching slightly, gave her away instantly. Alien. Enemy. Except she didn't look like much of anything right now except annoyed at the universe. When her eyes cracked open, she looked at me like I was the disappointment. "If you're here to finish me off," she muttered, voice rough, "could you at least do it without standing in the sun? You're blocking the only warm spot." "Glad to know you're feeling sarcastic enough to complain," I said. "Means you're not dying yet." She scoffed, then winced. "My ribs disagree." I knelt beside her and checked the beam pinning her leg. It wasn't too heavy, just awkward. Before lifting it, I warned, "This might hurt." "Oh, wonderful. I was afraid this rescue would be comfortable." Her sarcasm had a sharp edge, but fear lurked beneath it. I lifted the beam anyway. She hissed, but she didn't scream. Even injured, she was proud. Another reminder that I was dealing with someone not used to being vulnerable. Once free, she tried to stand. Bad idea. Her knees buckled immediately, and I caught her before she hit the dirt. She glared up at me as if gravity had personally betrayed her. "Put me down. I can walk." "You definitely can't." "I absolutely can." Her leg trembled like a newborn hoverbike. "You absolutely can't." She considered this, then sighed in defeat. "Fine, carry me, but if you drop me, I will haunt you." "Haunting requires being dead." "Don't tempt me." I slung her arm over my shoulders, and she leaned into me carefully, her ears brushing my cheek as they flicked with discomfort. Heat pulsed through my armor from where her wound seeped faintly glowing blood, bioluminescent, shimmering like spilled starlight. I tried not to stare. She noticed. "It's rude to gawk at someone's blood," she grumbled. "Even among your kind." "Sorry, we don't get many glowing people on my side." That explains the fashion choices. Even half-conscious, she still managed to insult humanity. Impressive, really. I checked the horizon. More drones would sweep the area soon, and I wasn't in the mood to explain why I was carrying an alien soldier like a bride over a threshold. I adjusted my grip and began moving through the ruins, boots crunching quietly. "What's your name?" I asked. "Why, planning to embroider it on a rescue badge." "It's called conversation." She hesitated. "Lyrian." "Nice to meet you, Lyrian. I'm Kale." "Kale," she repeated thoughtfully. "Sounds like a noise someone makes when choking on bread." "Beautiful, and here I thought we were bonding." She snorted, a small, reluctant sound that might have been a laugh if she weren't trying so hard to stay tough. As we crossed the remains of what used to be a communications station, she finally whispered, "I wasn't supposed to survive." The words were quiet, swallowed by the wind. "Battlefield luck happens," I said. "No." Her ears folded slightly, a gesture I hadn't seen before. "My squad left me, on purpose." I nearly stopped walking. "Left you, why?" "They said I was compromised. That's what they call it when someone knows something they shouldn't." Her voice trembled just for a heartbeat before she forced it steady again. "Someone tried to kill you," I realized. "Your own people." "Congratulations, Kale," she said weakly. "You've unlocked the first clue in today's mystery." I kept moving, faster now. We didn't know who was looking for her, but whoever wanted her gone wasn't finished. She felt lighter in my arms than I expected, and I wasn't sure if it was because she was weaker than she let on or because adrenaline was doing the heavy lifting. Her breath hitched every few steps, but she never complained again. When the sky dimmed as a scout drone passed overhead, she whispered, Why are you helping me? Because you're alive, I said simply. That is an unstrategic answer. It's the only one I've got. A pause, then her voice softened. Then thank you. A strange warmth settled between us. Brief, fragile, before another explosion in the distance reminded us that neither of us was safe. I tightened my grip around her and kept moving into the smoke, unaware that rescuing her was the first step into something far larger than either of us understood. We made it through the outskirts just as the twin suns dipped low, throwing long shadows across the shattered colony. Buildings stood half-melted, half-collapsed, and entirely offended at still existing. Lyrian leaned against me as we walked, her long ears flicking irritably every time dust drifted too close. At least she had stopped threatening to haunt me. Progress, she studied the ruins with narrowed eyes. Your species builds everything like you expect it to explode. Experience, I said, we plan ahead. Poorly. Her voice wavered on the last word, and I tightened my hold on her before she could pretend she didn't need it. Her bioluminescent blood had dulled to a faint glow, but the wound still worried me. I tried one more time to patch her up using my half-functional med kit, which beeped at me like it disapproved of my life choices. Your medical device is insulting me, she said. It insults everyone, it's democratic. She huffed, but the corner of her mouth twitched. We reached the old transit tunnels, dark, narrow, and perfect for hiding from anything with sensors that didn't believe in privacy. I guided her down the cracked steps, and she leaned more heavily on me as the last light died behind us. Inside, the air smelled like metal, ozone, and very, very old secrets. My visor flickered on, illuminating graffiti left by soldiers long gone. One drawing showed a heroic stick figure fighting a lopsided mech. Under it, someone had scrawled, "I'm a lover, not a fighter, but today I'm making an exception." Lyrian stopped in front of it. Is this art? Technically. No wonder you started the war. I rolled my eyes, she noticed. She smirked. Still sarcastic, good sign. Farther in, I set her down on an overturned crate so I could check her wounds properly. She watched me with guarded eyes. You said your squad left you because you knew something, I said. What exactly did you find? She hesitated, ears lowering. I intercepted a transmission, a negotiation between upper councils. Not for peace, for extension. They want the war prolonged, controlled, profitable. That makes no sense. War is already bleeding both sides dry. Exactly, so they'll make sure neither side wins. Her voice cracked like she hated hearing the truth out loud. My unit was ordered to retrieve the data I carried, then eliminate me to prevent complications. She said the last part flatly, but her hands trembled. I sat beside her. You shouldn't have survived, I murmured. No, and someone is very unhappy that I did. She lifted her chin. Congratulations, Kale, you've rescued a political inconvenience. Great, I always wanted a hobby. She snorted again, a small one but genuine. We kept moving deeper into the tunnels until the air shifted, carrying the hum of an active power source. Lights blinked through the dark, a patrol bot, tall and spindly, sweeping the area with an attitude that suggested it was overworked and underpaid. Lyrian whispered, "It's scanning for biosignatures." "Then don't breathe." "I need to breathe." "Selfish." She glared at me, then watched as I pulled a small device from my belt. A cloaking pulse generator, ancient, glitchy, and probably offended that I was asking it to work. I activated it. The generator buzzed like an angry insect, flickered, died, sparked, and then turned on with a tiny, smug beep. The bot approached. Its scanner swept right over us, paused, and then continued on. Lyrian whispered, "How did that work?" "Pure charm. Please don't reproduce." We stayed still until the bot left. Then she let out a slow breath. I felt her lean slightly closer, maybe by accident, maybe not. Her ears brushed my shoulder, warmer than I expected. "Kale," she said quietly, "if they catch us, they'll kill you too. Good thing I'm fast. You're slower than me, and I'm injured." "Ouch, true, but ouch." Her eyes softened. "I don't want your death on my conscience." Then don't die, problem solved. She shook her head at me in exasperation, but the tension eased between us. We continued until the tunnel opened into a collapsed metro station. Rusted maglev rails curled like broken ribs above us. I cleared a space near a defunct ticket booth and helped her sit, her breath tight with pain. "Rest," I said. "I'll keep watch." She studied me, her expression unreadable. "You could leave me here," she said softly. "Go back to your side, pretend you never found me." "I could," I agreed. "You should. But I won't." Her long ears lowered in something like disbelief, then slowly lifted again. Wonder flickered across her face, fragile and brief. "You humans," she whispered, "are dangerous. To you. To everyone." I shrugged. "We try." She shifted closer, leaning against my shoulder without asking permission this time. Her voice faded to a tired murmur. "Kale, if we survive this, the truth I carry will change everything. Then we definitely have to survive." She didn't answer. Her breathing slowed, steady and warm against me. I stayed awake beside her, pulse rifle ready, knowing that the tunnel wasn't the only thing full of shadows. Someone out there wanted her dead. And now, by choice or stupidity, I'd put myself between her and the entire conspiracy. Too late to back out now. Her ears twitched in her sleep. I almost smiled. Tomorrow, danger would find us again. Tonight, I would make sure she lived to see it. The abandoned research outpost rose from the sand like a rusted skeleton, its domes cracked and its towers leaning as though they were tired of holding themselves upright. I helped Lyrian climb the last ridge, her arm over my shoulders, her wounds mostly patched thanks to a stolen med injector that had insisted it was not authorized for alien biologies, before I threatened to throw it into a ditch. It worked after that. Fear is universal. Lyrian's long ears shifted as she studied the outpost. This place was shut down decades ago. Why would the transmission originate from here? "Because nothing suspicious ever comes from a well-lit, fully staffed building," I said. She snorted. "Sometimes I forget you're impossible." "Impossible is my main survival trait." We entered through a cracked service door. The lights flickered weakly, as if waking up after an embarrassingly long nap. Dust floated in the air, shifting like ghosts trying to remember how haunting worked. As we moved deeper, Lyrian's steps grew steadier, her earlier weakness replaced by sharp purpose. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was hunting answers. We reached the central nexus. Consoles hummed with unexpected life, linked by cables that hadn't been here before. Not decades-old tech, this was recent, active, waiting. Lyrian touched the main interface, her fingers moving over alien glyphs that glowed beneath her hand. "The data is here, the full negotiation logs." I kept watch, pulse rifle ready. "Download it." "I'm trying," she said through gritted teeth. "But someone encrypted this with a method so convoluted it has to be political." Then the alarms blared. I winced. "Really? We couldn't have 10 quiet minutes." Lyrian's ears shot upright. "Strike team incoming. Mixed units, they're close." "Great, a welcoming committee." She pulled the data crystal free. "We can't let them take this. If they do, everything I've suffered, everything we've done, will be for nothing." I took the crystal from her gently and tucked it into my armor. "They're not taking anything." The first blast shook the corridor. Metal shrieked, dust rained from the ceiling. "Kale," she warned, "these won't be scouts. They'll send elite units." I tightened my grip on the rifle. "Then I hope they skipped breakfast." We ran through the outpost, dodging collapsing beams and sudden energy surges from half-functional machinery. A drone burst into the hallway ahead, its targeting system locking onto us with far too much enthusiasm. I shoved Lyrian behind a pillar and fired. The drone exploded in a shower of sparks and offended beeping. Lyrian peeked out. "You're getting better at that. I've had a good teacher." She blinked, startled, then managed a small smile. Another squad appeared, 2 alien soldiers and 1 human in Black Ops armor. The kind of alliance you only saw when both sides agreed that murdering someone was more important than pretending to hate each other. "Lyrian," I murmured. On my signal, run left. Kale, no arguing. You're better at staying alive than I am. Her ears lowered. Not true. I looked at her, really looked. She wasn't the sarcastic, wounded soldier I had dragged from the battlefield. She was fierce now, determined, refusing to be erased. And somehow, without noticing, I had started to feel protective of that fire. Trust me, I said. She nodded once. I stepped into the open, firing wildly, drawing their attention. Energy bolts cracked past me. One clipped my shoulder, pain seared through me, but I stayed upright. Now, I shouted. Lyrian darted to the left, faster than I expected, using the chaos to slip behind the squad. She grabbed an exposed power conduit and yanked it free. The hallway lights flared, energy crackled, and an instant later, the entire corridor erupted in a burst of electromagnetic fury. The strike team froze, armor locking, weapons shorting out. They toppled like disgruntled statues. I blinked. Remind me never to make you angry. I'm always angry, she said. I just hide it well. Together, we fled to the surface. The suns had risen again, painting the desert in gold and heat. Lyrian uploaded the data to an emergency beacon, one that would transmit to every public channel on both sides before anyone could stop it. Once activated, it hummed softly. Done, she whispered. It's out there now. They can't bury it anymore. I exhaled. So, we just exposed a galaxy-wide conspiracy. Yes, before breakfast. Her ears twitched. You are insufferable. But her voice was warm. We stood there, breathing in the desert wind. The war wouldn't end overnight. Maybe not even soon. But the truth was loose, and truth had claws. I realized then that something inside me had shifted. The soldier who'd marched into battle that morning had been a follower, tired, resigned, numb. But now I had protected someone who should have been my enemy, fought for a cause bigger than orders, and found a strange, unexpected bond with a woman who had every reason to distrust me. Lyrian looked at me with steady, unguarded eyes. What happens now, Kale? I smiled. Now we survive, and maybe we figure out what comes after surviving. She studied me for a long moment, her ears lowering gently in a gesture I'd learned meant trust. I would like that. We walked away from the outpost side by side, not human and alien, not soldier and fugitive, but something new. Something dangerous to the people who feared change. Behind us, the beacon continued to pulse, sending truth across the stars. And for the first time in a long while, hope didn't feel like a distant rumor. It felt like the future we were walking toward, together.